Hey there, this is Jason. Behind me are the 7 varieties of Asian pear that I have growing right outside my orchard gate. I'm going to show you what those varieties look like. This might be the very first year that I get fruit on these trees, so I'm excited to show you what the progress of the trees look like after a year and a half in the ground. Let's come check them out. Alright, so let's talk about placement real quick. This is a terraced lawn. This used to be a slope. It was a very unusable part of the yard, so we went ahead and put in retaining walls. This top layer is level with my yard. I've got a bunch of natives that have filled in nicely. The second layer is where I have my Asian pears, and then what used to be the ground is still the ground, and that's my walkway into my orchard. Next to it here on the west side, I have a very large shed. 1/3 of it is dedicated to my chicken coop down there at the end. So between the passion fruit vine growing up top and my Asian pears, which I'm going to allow to grow a little taller than the rest of my trees, I'm going to provide some early morning shade to my shed and chicken coop. So that was the plan here. That's why I have things placed where they are. That's why I went with the style of tree here. Pears tend to grow more upright and taller. And then I space them out so that when they do fill in, they'll create a nice shade wall for my chicken coop. I'm a little ways away. I'm a few years away from that actually happening, but so far I've got some pretty good progress. So the first tree right here, I bought at Champa Nursery right outside of Los Angeles, and it's the Hasui. Pretty popular variety. A lot of people say it's the best flavored Asian pear, but I've actually allowed Hasui to completely take over here. I haven't grafted any other varieties on here. I want the full fruiting potential of Hasui, so this one's going to stay exactly as it is. The next one down here, this is Shojuro, and that was what was grafted onto the rootstock, and since then I've grafted another variety called Tenasui, which is a mashup. It's a hybrid between a European pear and an Asian pear. I'm really intrigued by Tenasui because it's not a variety I would find anywhere in any grocery store. So if I'm not growing it here, I'm never going to have an opportunity to try it out. Those two varieties are going. You can see Tenasui is actually doing very well. It's very vigorous. That's the growth back there on what is my east side. I purposely did all my grafts on the east side to get that early morning sun, because you can see, you know, it's late afternoon here, but we've got quite a bit of shade. So I wanted to give those grafts the greatest opportunity possible to take off, and they sure have. So those grafts, because they were coming from a Scion nursery further up north, their biological clock, as soon as they reached this San Diego weather, they started to grow, and they are way outgrowing the trees. And so we've got tons of vigor on our grafts. I'll talk a little bit more as we get down to our very end there, but we've got the actual varieties that were grafted onto the rootstock. They're a little further behind, but that's okay. This is year number 1. Year number 2, I expect things to be a little bit more in sync. We do have some flowers on here. Shojuro was one of my test trees here in zone 10B. Our chill hours are way lower than what you would probably recommend for these Asian pears. So I was going to say, if I get fruit from here, that would be wonderful. Obviously that's my main goal, but if not, I would just use it as a shade tree. But I do have some flower buds that are about to pop open, so again, all good signs. It doesn't mean I'm going to get fruit out of it, but again, it's a good sign. The next tree here, this is Shinseki. Shinseki is a fairly popular one. I see this pretty commonly, maybe the top 3 Asian pears here in Southern California. Right off of Shinseki, I have Shinsui, which is another hybrid, and Shinsui is not as vigorous as the other varieties, but that's okay. And Shinsui has nice, beautiful red foliage as they first come in, so that is different than Shinseki, which does not have the same red foliage. It starts off green and it continues green all the way. You will notice that some of my leaves here have a little bit of aphid action going on. Asian pears, or just pears in general, I feel, get hit by aphids a little bit higher than maybe some of my other trees. And so I've treated all of these trees in the past with sprays, but really what I'm going to do again this year is I'm going to put tanglefoot down on the trunk. And because these trees were so young, the tanglefoot, which is a very thick consistency that you wrap onto a piece of tape, and it helps protect the trunk and prevents ants from climbing up. Some of that tanglefoot dripped down and has stained the trunk of these trees. So if you're wondering why the trunks have a darker brown color to them, You can see a little bit of that over here too, right where the graft union is. That's my tanglefoot. I learned that lesson. I learned that I needed to go a little bit lighter on the tanglefoot, but I'm going to have to apply that again because I'm seeing some similar signs here of aphids and some of the ant activity that makes the aphids worse. Okay, so here's another variety that I have. And then one of the most popular Southern California Asian pear trees is probably 20th century. And this is a really cool story here. This tree was a chance seedling found in a garbage dump somewhere in Japan. Some kid found it and was like, hey, these are pretty good. And then before you know it, it's a variety that's now worldwide. So 20th century has Yali grafted onto it. Yali was the most vigorous of all of the grafts that I put on this winter. Yali actually needed a little bit of support. You can see I tied a bamboo stake to Yali because it was just bending over and it would have snapped under its own weight. And I also went ahead and pruned the top here. Even with that, you can see another branch has taken over, and I'm gonna have to either tie this up or prune this one off entirely. So Yali is definitely leading the pack as far as vigor is concerned. Yali woke up first. As compared to the other Asian pears, it got a little bit of a head start. And that's one of the things that I want to point out here with my Asian pears is they are going to fill a large successive ripening window here. With Yali, if that fruits for me, that'll be one of the earlier ripening Asian pears. And then I might expect to get Asian pears from these 4 trees and 7 varieties for maybe 3 months in a row, from late summer all the way through the fall. So successive ripening is a big goal of mine, and just here within these 4 trees I've got several months worth of successive ripening fruit. You can see 20th century has the most amount of flowers. Some of the flowers are open right now, and some of them have actually flowered already, and I've got little tiny fruit growing. Again, a good sign. I wouldn't say I'm out of the woods yet. Those could easily yellow and fall off. But again, a good sign for fruit production here with our Asian pears. One final thing that I want to share here with these Asian pears is that no matter what kind of Asian pear you get, these things are super expensive in the grocery store. And one of the things that I like to do here is identify fruit that is just really, really expensive. Dragon fruit being the other one that's just super expensive. If I can grow it here, if I can save a couple bucks by growing it in my backyard rather than spending $10 on a package at the grocery store, I'm all for that. So this might be a little excessive, 7 varieties on 4 trees, but I hope to share these Asian pears with my neighbors and friends who maybe would shy away from an Asian pear when they see the sticker on it in the grocery store. So again, it's a delicious fruit. I love it. I will be eating these quite a bit myself, but I hope to share how wonderful Asian pears are with some of the folks that live around me here in the San Diego area. Do you have any of these Asian pear varieties? And if so, which ones are your favorite? Which ones do you have most luck with? And if I was to graft on another variety that I don't currently have, what would you recommend I add? What do you think is out there that deserves to be added to the orchard? Let me know in the comments section. I love hearing from you. Thank you.